Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
The Lodgecast Experience.
warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Welcome to the hot take of Glass. I'm your Lodge Master. With me as always is Brother Bishke.
Can't beat the beast.
And Brother Lucas.
Let us begin.
And joining us tonight in fancy, luxurious Century City is Brother Justin.
I see stoned people.
So, oh my god. Okay, we've been keeping it so muted for you guys.
So did Shyamalan.
Before we start chewing glass, we got to have a referendum about Mr. Shyamalan, because I think this is the first time we've tackled him on the cast. So, where is everybody's Shyamalan meter? Shyamalometer.
I think I said this before. For the record, this is my first Shyamalan film in 19 years.
Whoa.
Oh, it's Unbreakable, the last one you saw?
Yes, it was. I am loyal to the East Rail 177 trilogy, which this completes.
Wow. So you've missed all of that. You missed the whole arc. And
Yeah, he's just not one I follow, and but I wanted to return, see what was going on, what's been going on in the last 19 years.
This is a masterclass in
I think I've
in
got
that.
a taste. Yeah.
Brother Lucas, what are you dealing with?
Yeah, my Shyamalan needle is sadly bounced below the line. But it's funny is I started off a big fan. I worked in a movie theater the summer The Sixth Sense came out. So
Pivotal summer.
yeah, a lot of hype around that one, and rightfully so. But I feel sadly that Mr. Shyamalan learned all the wrong lessons from his successes and kind of went down this road that eventually got him into a lot of trouble, and then he's been slowly building his way.
It's like he's a criminal.
Yeah, he's been slowly building his way
Got him
back.
into some trouble.
And what's interesting is as he's building his way back,
Did some time in cinema jail.
yeah, definitely, he started to kind of lean back into his old habits again, especially with this movie that we're about to do a hot take on.
All right. Well, Brother Justin, you and I have a special relationship with the Shyamalan universe.
Yeah, we have vowed to see every one of his films in the theater, and we've held up that bargain as far as I can tell.
We really have. We saw an 11:50 p.m. screening of The Last Airbender.
Ooh,
We've been
that
there.
one was rough.
We've gone the distance.
Yeah.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our pact has something to do with the fact that he's always up to something.
That he is.
He's a trickster, and he's always up to something, and he's always trying something, and he doesn't, at least when we made this pact, he wasn't playing it safe. And we wanted to celebrate that and go all the way down that weird rabbit hole with him.
Yeah, there's always something. I mean, it increasingly it's diminishing returns, especially now that this was kind of hobbled together into a franchise, which I don't think quite worked.
It's he's kind of trying to create his own cinematic universe at this point.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know if anyone actually wanted that to happen. I mean, that's all the rage these days, and that's something that's probably a mandate in 2 out of every 3 meetings that you're in.
Right. Can you build a universe out of this?
Yeah, and I think, Split, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the most profitable movies ever made. I think it's in the top 20.
He self-finances them.
So I think budget $9 million, worldwide takes $280 or something.
You notice
which is insane.
You notice there wasn't 9 production company animations at the beginning. There's his, and there's Blumhouse.
Yeah,
That's it. He throws down his own money on these
Yeah.
because he believes.
Yes.
I think he just does what he wants to do.
Sixth Sense gave him the power to do.
It gave him a lifetime pass.
His name. People know his name. Our parents know his name.
They know his name.
it's like when John Cusack held that boombox over his head. It's like, hey man, a certain demographic is going to love you until you die.
Because of that.
You do whatever you want.
That's exactly right. So, what was playing on the Glass boombox tonight?
Well, let's talk about some positives.
Well,
We're trying to be more positive in the
let's
new year.
rewind, because you said something interesting, which is him kind of returning to form, you know? And I think that's exactly what this was, because in preparation, I rewatched Unbreakable, which I don't think I'd seen since it came out.
Look at this guy.
And I also watched Split.
Always doing the prep work.
Well, not always. But Unbreakable, I remembered it being very, like, precise and very focused in how the camera moved, and it was pretty slow, but I didn't remember how drab it was. It was really underwater. It was really slow, not a lot of color. I think some of that had to do with the time in which it was made.
Right.
I think we got pretty emo pre 9/11, and then when 9/11 happened, we kind of kicked it into fuck yeah America gear.
Right.
Things got a little more energy.
Right.
Entertainment wise, but man, it was so drab, and I mean honestly pretty dull. This kind of followed suit. I think he was going back to what worked and what was revered, but this time I think we expect a little more energy from it, and the only one who's got any is Mr. 25 different personalities, McAvoy.
James McAvoy.
Which really, so you go from being kind of bored to exhausted quickly.
That's an astute observation. And I will give James McAvoy this. He does commit. He commits. And the question is raised about, just because you commit, does that mean you're right for the role? Just because you throw yourself completely in it, I think you can still just not quite connect in the way that the filmmaker wants, because this is the James McAvoy show. There's no question about it.
I mean, Split is too, right?
Split is too, but this, there's not as much going on as there is in Split. There's even less. Like, he is just out there tap dancing, and if you don't gel with that, you're in trouble for this movie. Like, deep trouble.
Yeah, I felt that way. I mean, it was absolutely an exhausting performance that he throws himself into wholeheartedly, but for an audience member, it can become tedious after a while.
Like, I was starting to think about what could have made it better, and I don't know.
Well, I think what could have made it better, number one, is if you just slow down the character changes. Like, I mean, if you think about what makes Primal Fear so genius is like you genuinely feel like Edward Norton's the turn is genuine, and it's like two different people that you really, really believe, as opposed to 10 different caricatures.
It's quantity over substance.
Yeah, and I get that he's like a superhero in that regard, because he's like, a monster or whatever, but oh man, like, it was just so fucking exhausting. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think just premise-wise, I think when you write a first draft of a movie like this, you have to step away and think, what do people want to see?
Right.
Like, you don't have to market test the hell out of everything, you know, trust your instincts as an auteur all you want, but I think you need a little more self-doubt, which is, do I want to devote an hour of the movie to convincing all these characters that they're not actually extraordinary, and by extension convincing us,
right,
which is yawn-inducing.
That is the fatal flaw, the Achilles heel, the kryptonite, if you will, of this movie. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I lost track of all time and space during this movie, so I'm guessing maybe 30 minutes in, around the time when they off-screen hosed Bruce Willis down with all those hoses, which was perverse that they didn't show us that moment. And I think it's because Bruce was like, I'll get wet for you once. But at that point, watching him dripping, I had to go pee so bad. Like, it's like a virgin monologue at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs. It reminded me what it felt like back in 1995 when I had to go piss 15 minutes into Braveheart. And I held it. I held it for 3 hours, and I did it with a smile. I held this It was the same intensity. I was looking. We were in the Atmos theater, so everybody's recliners were back. I was looking to my right, looking to the left. Their legs just blocking all access. There's a big
you could have gone out.
I couldn't. I did not want to. I did not want to inconvenience anybody.
Brutal.
And I didn't want to miss anything.
It's brutal.
But my point is, in Braveheart, it's a thrill a minute. There's twists and turns. You're
Blood.
you're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to William Wallace and his exploits? In this, there's no new information. It is the same thing over and over, and portentous music that makes you feel like Christ is about to appear every other scene. And Sarah Paulson's character, who does spend the whole movie...
She's playing it apologetic. The tone is so apologetic.
Trying to figure out if these guys are for real. We all know that they're real. We've seen 2 full movies whose point was nothing but showing us how real deal Holyfield these fuckers are.
Yeah.
Well,
Why are you spending the whole movie doing that?
Yeah, that was a massive mistake. I mean, the reason why I think Unbreakable was compelling is because it was more grounded, and the whole thrust of it was trying to convince this guy that he maybe did have powers, because he was very reluctant. Too reluctant, even. But to spend...
He's not reluctant anymore.
No, he's in it to win it. He's got his home security business, which has a storefront. His son is running things in the Bat Cave.
The whole opening shows us that he's a superhero.
Yeah, I thought it got off
Overwatch.
I thought it got off to a pretty strong start.
Yeah.
It was moving along. I was introduced to McAvoy, who I didn't see Split, but I read the Wikipedia synopsis, so I knew what was going on.
This basically contains all of Split.
But the Lodge Master called it. He said for months, he was like, I bet you, like, watching the trailer every week, you know, that cheerleader shit is, like, just in the cold open and we're never going to see it again. I was like, oh, man, I kind of hope that's, like, the climax of the movie.
Exactly.
I kind of like that imagery, but you were right. It was over within, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, damn.
And then you go to the hospital.
We get caught in a prison drama.
Yeah, it's like,
in prison.
I can't believe how much time they spent there. And also...
Dude, it put me out.
Lucas was out until I yelled at him.
Dude,
basically.
it was because it was like you said though. Like as soon as like they kept flash strobe lighting Billy or whatever, I was like, oh, I cannot. I have no patience for this.
The other thing about the McAvoy stuff is the first time we see him in the room with the lights when they're basically changing channels on his personalities. That's cool, but you can't do it 8 times in the movie. You got to build up to it, like we said. Like space it out. Allow us to feel the turn, give us a little bit here, a little bit there, and then you build up to a symphony.
And then there's like that scene where the orderly is just zapping him, and it's like, what kind of hospital is this?
Every
like strobing
every
him.
scene with him, they is an excuse for him to flip through all the personalities.
And then there's one scene where he's just like trying to make a run for it, like repeatedly, and after a while, it becomes kind of funny, you know, where the audience is kind of like laughing at his like
it's
next
funny
attempt.
in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I do love how Shyamalan loves hip hop. So he tries to throw some references in.
That's another problem.
He likes white guys with a lisp rapping. And he thinks that's delightful. That's
one of my favorite what the fuck elements of The Visit. The little boy is an aspiring rapper. M. Night loves hip hop culture. He loves just kind of dipping his toe in because he thinks he's connecting with kids. But in this movie, like Bruce Willis's son and anybody who's supposed to be quote-unquote cool, like some of the McAvoy personalities, they speak in a way that would have been funny in the 90s. Like, his humor has not evolved. And I think that's not his fault. I think once The Sixth Sense hit, M. Night, his entire persona just got solidified in amber. So we still get jokes circa 99.
Yeah,
that's true. I think that's fair.
And and it's kind of cute and it's kind of endearing, but cool it is not. And if that's your goal, to make these characters cool and likable, I don't know.
Yeah.
For this podcaster, it didn't work.
Yeah, and I really thought that something a little more interesting was going to happen with Anya Taylor-Joy's character, because there was something there where they're hinting that maybe she has some sort of power, because a lot of Split revolved around flashbacks of her seemingly being molested.
Yeah.
Or abused. She has a lot of scars, which is just unnecessarily dark and creepy. But then she came out of it in this movie just kind of being nice.
She's loving her tormentor, and she's like in love with him. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's not
Was that
even
in
like
Split?
Stockholm syndrome. I think she connected with one of the personalities,
and she
or
keeps
something.
connecting with
I
him.
thought they
in
were
this.
related, like brother and sister. At the end of Split, it was revealed or something, or no?
No, that was a dream you had. You tried to make your own Shyamalan twist ending.
Oh my God!
Well,
Well,
speaking of more going on, I mean, the movie's called Glass, and Sam Jackson is
distant background.
sedated for over half the movie.
That's what really put me out, was Jackson wasn't doing anything.
He wasn't doing
I could
anything.
not stay focused. I remember thinking going in, thank God we still have Samuel L. Jackson, because how many more, performances are we gonna get that are like top notch? And
He was doing some pretty stellar face twitching.
It was
The wheels were turning in there.
It was some loud twitching. He was saying a lot without saying anything.
Yeah.
I need to talk about Bruce Willis. I need to talk about this man. His eyes in this movie are beyond dead. He is not on this planet. He is doing a favor, and he's not even phoning it in long distance. He's not even making his own long distance calls. He is so gone. He doesn't care. He does not care. And I don't know if he still has it in him. Like we always talk about the Travolta sparkle that he still retains. No matter how deep and murky the mire, Johnny T always has that sparkle and that smile that brings you back. Mm-hmm. Bruce, his smirk is deflated, and his eyes are he's thinking about his boat or something.
Well, does he just want to be Clint Eastwood now, where he's just gruff and just kind of squints at people?
I don't even think he reached Clint level. I think
I wonder,
he's sleepwalking through this.
if you were a young moviegoer and you saw Split, you saw this, and then someone showed you Die Hard,
right,
you would be like, the twist would be that that's the same guy.
Right, yeah, you wouldn't believe it.
You would blow your mind. It was like that charismatic action star
No, he's dead.
lit up the silver screen.
Whoever that is has passed on. I'm convinced.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty gruff and underwater and unbreakable too. I mean, that's kind of the character.
I guess that might be the character.
But I mean, he's also that character in everything.
And Death Wish, and name any movie he's been in the past 5 to 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. I know we wanted to try to keep it positive in 2019.
I
Very
don't know.
difficult.
This
we'll
movie,
punt on that. We'll do it next time.
This movie was aggressive, you guys.
Yeah.
This movie was aggressive. I don't even consider it a movie, because we spend the whole time questioning whether or not they're superheroes. Spoiler alert is not even a spoiler. They are. We know this. And then once we get done with that, they have a showdown in the afternoon out in front of the mental hospital. I peg a lot on the afternoon time period, because everything's just laid bare. I feel like if it was dark, or if it was raining, some of the silliness could be obscured.
Or if they were on the top of the tower like they said they were going to be.
Osaka Tower.
Let's talk about the tower, you guys.
Why was Osaka Tower so central to this movie,
Such a
and
bait
nothing
switch.
happens?
I knew nothing. God, they talk about this tower heist, super villainry that's about to go down. They keep talking about it. They hit you over the head with it, and they don't even go there.
They're like, thousands of people are turning out.
Can't afford it.
Can't afford it. That's
Scrapped.
when you know he's self-financing.
We'll have 2 cops show up in the parking lot.
It's like, if we just talk about it enough, people will start to remember that they were there.
I wonder if he had a chat with Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry was like, you know, man, if this is your own money, just keep it.
I love that you made the Tyler Perry connection, because Tyler Perry's kind of taken the torch, for me at least, from M. Night, in that this dude's swinging. This dude's swinging hard. He's swinging into weird areas, and I got to keep an eye on him. I will see every Tyler Perry movie that's released in the theater. You can mark my words on that. But this adapted ending when they're on their way to the tower, but they get held up in the parking lot, it reminds me of like when I was 15 and I'm like, well, we got a bunch of cops and we got a bunch of cocaine dealers in my story. We can't afford any cops or like big explosions, so it's all going to go down in the parking lot by my school. You know, like that's what it felt like to me. It felt like the ultimate cop-out. I don't know,
Another Bruce Willis reference.
It was.
Well done.
Hashtag accidental Willis reference.
Yeah.
But watching it in broad daylight with all of the main characters standing in kind of a triangulated form, just looking at each other, you can't take it seriously.
No.
You just can't.
Where it really lost me was all of the comic book exposition where people are theorizing about how comic books, you know, have predicted this story, and they're
it's all meta,
and it's way too meta. But there's just
it's over-explained.
Little comments like Superman used to take place in New York and he couldn't even fly. And what about all the coincidences I've been reading about? It's like, are we supposed to take you seriously saying those things?
I don't understand how sweet, dear, beloved M. Night thought he could get away with courting the most detail-oriented, minutia-obsessed demographic, which is comic book nerds, and basically giving us a slight skimming of a Wikipedia entry of comic books in this script. Like, there is nothing deeper than the most cursory Google search if you literally typed in what happens in a comic book.
Yeah. And I mean, at least, like, speaking of another director who has really jumped the shark, Kevin Smith, who at least makes that meta commentary fun, usually. You know what I mean? Like, it's not compelling storytelling per se, but when a nerd is making jokes about comics, like, you can do it in a way that is entertaining and not just explaining to my grandma what a comic book is.
Yeah, like having a slow push-in on an unflappably serious Sarah Paulson as she explains more comic book tropes. On what universe is that fun?
So the twist is that Sarah Paulson's character is a member of this secret organization that wants to keep tabs on potential superhero people. What would be the point of her trying to convince them that they're not special if you're this nefarious organization? Just have them incarcerated. Like, they're already... Like, Bruce Willis is a vigilante who's going against the law. You can lock him up for that.
Yeah, you have just cause.
Well, and also the public really wasn't that convinced that he's a superhero. He's just some guy.
It was Death Wish all over again, but with a poncho. Poncho Wish.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's I could go on for another day on this. So let's go to these brittle bones, these Mr. Glass bones. Justin, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to give this one bone, Matt. There was just little joy to be had. It wasn't fun. It wasn't funny.
Here's Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, nailed it. Just too drab, too slow. McAvoy really gave it his all, but I got it in Split.
Yeah.
The whole shtick was nothing but repeated on his end. I mean, it was the same exact thing.
Why didn't part of Mr. Glass's big viral plan include somehow injecting McAvoy with a new, like, crazier personalities? Like, we just have the Beast again. It's leftovers.
Yeah, and just having your two kind of legacy characters, I guess, go out in such a unspectacular fashion was really
they both just get shot.
Yeah, and then Bruce Willis gets drowned in a pothole, and I mean, there's a...
And his son somehow didn't see that, and he was standing right there the whole time.
He didn't see the clovers on everyone's wrist that
Jesus.
signify they're part of an organization.
Man.
But, there's something to be said about subverting expectations, because especially when you're M. Night, the audience is trying to be ahead of you because you're Mr. Twist ending.
Right.
But you also have to give people what they want, and I can't fathom any moviegoer wanting what we just got.
Especially
Who
after
wants
it's
that?
over. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Brother Lucas in the back. You slept through part of this, so there's an asterisk again by your review.
No, I feel because I watched the trailer so much, I knew I wasn't going to miss anything.
And you knew they didn't show any of the towers in it. That's how I knew they weren't going to the towers.
The music was just so heavy and portentous too. Yeah, I thought you were very accurate in saying that it felt like you were going to see Christ like at any moment. Like, in every scene. It was just, But, yeah, I got to go with Justin on this. I got to give it a bone because I feel like I don't really want to see these characters in like future installments, but at the same time, there is an idea there that is cool. Like, let's see what they can do. But just tell us like a good story, with a good plot, and have it be a lot broader or bigger.
Give us a reason for watching.
Don't keep it in the insane asylum unless you're going to get a bunch of other crazy people involved, and then it's interesting, But if it's just, James McAvoy doing his thing, like, it gets old pretty fast. Like, it's like audition scene the movie.
Did you see the movie? That's one bone from LT. Brother Bitchkey.
Well, I've missed the M. Night roller coaster that he's been on for the past 19 years. So coming back to him, I didn't have any expectations really, or like, oh, he's been there, done that. Like Split, I didn't see. So McAvoy, I found was pretty entertaining because
Okay, that's a good angle.
Yeah, and so I thought when McAvoy was doing his thing, I was pretty into it. And then I thought that M. Night's direction, visually, he's always been pretty high quality.
There are a couple upside down shots.
Yeah, there was stuff to look at, but it gets stuck in that psychological prison drama.
The Unsane-averse.
For a long time, and when it's stuck there, that's not what you want from a superhero movie. And I will give it 1.5 bone.
1.5 bone. You pumping it up a little bit for that sweet McAvoy?
Yes, I will.
All right. Well, I obviously had an allergic reaction to this movie, and you could blame it on my full bladder, but that's too easy. That's too easy. Because again, I can hold it. I can hold it if you give me a reason to.
That's your power, your purpose. You can hold it. My bladder is like glass. It will shatter. But you're strong.
Bishke's bladder is like glass. I'm
Yes.
surprised he didn't walk out of this one 5 times. But, sorry to throw you into the bus there.
No, that's true.
But, I think I've already said my piece. It's a new year, trying to be positive, but this one tested me, you guys. To me, it doesn't have a reason to be called a movie. Like, I don't think it's a movie. I think it is just setup after setup after setup, announcing everybody's name 500 times, and losing yourself in your own mythology and thinking that everybody is on the exact same page, on the edge of their seat, wondering with bated breath what's the next step for Bruce Willis's poncho creep. And I think it's a miscalculation. I'm going to give it 1/2 bone for one reason, and one reason only. It's late in the film. When they show Glass's mom in her home, there is an late 90s, early 2000s era iMac on the credenza, and it made me smile. Like, when she checked her email on that thing, it felt so real. Like, it was a centerpiece of her living room, and she was so proud of it, and I loved looking at that.
They should have showed her wrinkly hand on that hockey puck mouse.
I know. Then it would have gone to a full bone. But I'm going to give it a 1/2 for that. The rest of it, I think, oh man, like, I would not recommend this to any living, breathing person.
You know what this felt like to me? Do you ever read those Reddit threads where someone has a new theory about like a 20-year-old movie? Like,
Sure.
Cameron is hallucinating Ferris and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or things like that.
Of course.
This felt like someone made an elaborate comment about Split and about what, the implications are and what kind of where the story could go.
And M. Night was up late.
Yeah.
Read it.
And written by someone who has no business continuing a story that may have started out as compelling.
Right.
This was the movie.
And if it does well enough, we're going to get another one.
Are we finally going to get to knock off Atomi Plaza or whatever it was called?
Oh, man. This movie's episode doesn't deserve a joke that good. But here we are. Anybody have any final words for the Beast?
Let's look for some better movies.
We're gonna look for some better movies.
I really hope 2019 is going to be a better year for cinema.
It's gonna be great, guys.
I just want to let out better movies.
We are early in the year. We're gonna get a lot of stuff like this, but there's going to be gleaming spires of hope amongst the weeds. We have to keep searching. Hit us up on SoundCloud. Hit us up on Instagram. Brother Justin, thank you for paying full freight to see this.
Hey, you didn't need to let people know that.
You're getting A-list shamed. You need to get on the A-list, AMC A-list, y'all. The benefits are out of control.
I live by the landmark. It's still Movie Pass friendly.
Shake your bowels loose.
Oh, yeah. The Dolby Atmos hurt my pelvis.
Yeah, it did.
You
All
know there are people just having orgasms that can't have no control over their seat.
At least somebody had a good time.
Because I almost had one.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, this Prius is steamy enough. Love and light to y'all.
Good M. Night.
Good M. Night.
Good night.